Chapter 322. The Pedophile and His Child Brides, Part 3. Ifat Khan was sitting on a bench waiting for the guards to bring her Saudi husband who had been arrested and jailed for more than 4 months. At that time, she was 18 years old and her Arab husband was 80 years old. She had spent 3 years with him in Eritrea and 7 years in Iran. For 10 years, he had abused and subdued her, and had turned her into a robot. Even though he was in jail, he still continued to frighten and control her. He controlled her as if he had a wireless remote control in his hand that he could use to move her from place to place. She was like his wingless bird, which could only fly when given wings by him. While she was sitting waiting on the bench, Ifat suddenly saw the old man coming toward her, guarded by 2 male jailers. He was chained from head to foot and dressed up in a prisoner's uniform. When he sat on the opposite side and faced her, she began to shake and sweat, her heart began to beat fast. When he greeted her in Persian language, she could not talk, her voice failed her even though her mouth was opened. He raised his voice and shouted at her, and she forced herself to reply to his greeting. The first question the old man asked Ifat was about her Afghani security guard, and she told him that he had been arrested at the Mumbai airport. This information filled the old man's heart with fear. The first thought that arose in his mind was that Ifat might run away without anyone to guard her. Concealing his fear, he began to instruct her on what to do. First, he warned her that if she tried to run away, he had more than 1,000 Indian Gondas or gangsters who would find and cut her into pieces. Secondly, he told her not to tell anyone that she was his wife. Thirdly, he told her not to open her burqa or allow anyone to see her face. She had to be hidden inside her black burqa even when she was in her hotel room. After giving her those instructions, he began to tell her what to do. The first assignment the old man gave to Ifat was to take a taxi, go to Churchgate and deliver a letter that he had written to the manager of the Abu Dhabi International Bank. The letter was written in Arabic. Like his maidservant, Ifat took a taxi and headed to the address written on the letter. When she reached the bank, she first showed the letter to an Indian female employee who then passed it on to an Arab male employee. The Arab man read the letter and understood that it was addressed to the bank manager, so he directed Ifat to the manager. In the letter, the old man had requested the manager of the bank to send one of the bank employees with the necessary forms so that he could make a joint account with his Indian wife, Ifat Khan, who had brought the letter to him. He requested the bank not to allow his Indian wife to withdraw more than 1,000 rupees in a day. The manager filled the forms and asked Ifat Khan to affix her signature, but when Ifat admitted to being illiterate, he suggested she simply use her thumbprint. After that, the manager asked one of his Arab employees to accompany the wife of their important Saudi client to the jail to get his signature. Ifat Khan had to pay a couple of $100 more to the officer whom she had bribed before to allow her to revisit the old man for the second and the third times. According to the jail rules, the same person was not allowed to visit a prisoner more than once in a day. However, that day Ifat revisited her Saudi husband thrice. After the old man signed the joint accounts forms, Ifat went back to the Abu Dhabi International Bank and got her debit card and account book. As instructed in the letter, the bank allowed her to withdraw only 1,000 rupees. She was told by the manager she could use her debit card to eat in a restaurant, or to rent a room in a hotel. The manager also followed the instructions of the letter and took $1,000 from Ifat Khan and exchanged it for 45,000 Indian rupees. She had brought with her a couple of $1,000 from Iran. After that, Ifat returned to visit her Saudi husband for the third time. The second assignment was appointing a lawyer. He told her to go to Mumbai High Court, and find the best lawyer and bring him to meet him in the jail. He said that the lawyer should be a Muslim. Since it was already evening, he told her to go to Kolaba, find a hotel and book in, but she was told not to stay in a hotel that would charge more than 500 rupees per day. Ifat, like a very obedient wife, stopped a taxi and asked the driver to take her to any hotel at Kolaba that charged 500 rupees. The driver responded by saying he knew of no decent hotel that had rates so low, but Ifat had no intention of seeing the old man for the fourth time that day, so she told the driver just to take her to any nearby hotel that would charge her only 500 rupees. The driver took her to a cheap hotel at Bombay Central. It was charged 499 rupees. The last time Ifat had eaten was aboard the Iranian passenger jet. She was starving as she entered her room, but she was so tired and exhausted she would have slept without food if the hotel front desk hadn't phoned her room to ask whether she wanted to order dinner from the hotel restaurant before it closed in less than an hour. So she ordered a rushed meal before going to sleep. She fell asleep wearing the same clothes she had been wearing since she left Tehran. She came with a small travel handbag that held a couple of dresses and few inner clothes. She had 2 black burqas and 1 pair of spare shoes, that was all. She had never traveled by herself, and she was completely ignorant of the outside world. She was acting as if she came from the jungle and this was her first real human contact. The old man had succeeded in changing her from a human being into a domestic animal with 2 legs. As soon as she woke up from her sleep, Ifat left the hotel and took a taxi to the Mumbai High Court. Finding a lawyer in Mumbai is as easy as sighting a policeman on the street. Lawyers do not stay in their offices, they gather every day in the courtyard of the court and chase after people. As soon as you enter the courtyard, tens of advocates would come running to you and offer to defend you or fight your case. They would charge you according to your case or your means. The moment the lawyers saw the Muslim woman in a black burqa, she held court to 15 of them. She heard them babble in Hindi and in Urdu. All talking at the same time, some ventured that Ifat had come to ask for a divorce from her abusive Muslim husband, some guessed that she wanted to marry her Hindu boyfriend without the consent of her parents. She brushed away both suggestions and asked for a Muslim lawyer to step forward. The crowd around her was now a group of 5, out of which she chose the oldest one. The old man had told her to go for an old and experienced lawyer. Immediately the chosen wakil asked her to sit with him at a corner and tell him her problem so that he could write it down on his notebook, which he was carrying like school notes. Ifat told him she did not have a problem, but that she had someone in the Arthur Road jail who had very serious case. She said that she could not tell him what the problem was herself, but that the one inside the jail would relate his situation. At first, the Muslim lawyer thought that Ifat was just a playgirl who wanted to fool him and waste his valuable time, and to make sure, he asked her for an advance. Ifat agreed to give him a couple of 100 rupees. He also said she would be liable for his travelling expenses, and Ifat assured him that she would pay for his trips. Seeing no opposition from the burqa-clad girl, he requested that lunch be on her if the case demanded more time than necessary. With Ifat agreeing to all his demands, he hailed a taxi and slid into the front seat. He motioned to Ifat to sit in the rear because it would be haram for him to sit near a young Muslim woman that wasn't his wife. With the taxi was racing down the beach street of the Marine Drive, the Muslim lawyer took the opportunity to ask Ifat all the questions that remained unanswered in his mind. He wanted to know whether the person in the jail was her husband, boyfriend, father, brother, uncle, cousin. Ifat answered no to all of his questions, and that made him even more curious. He puzzled over the relationship between the Muslim girl and the Arthur Road jail's detainee. He also wanted to know where she was living and what level of education she reached, whether she was married, or had a boyfriend, what her age was and what were her plans. His questions were endless, and Ifat breathed a sigh of relief when the taxi reached the jail. The Muslim lawyer had mentally prepared himself to meet anyone in the world except the one he saw sitting inside the small visiting room. If he had seen Satan himself sitting in the small room, he wouldn't have been more shocked as when he saw Sheikh Ahmed was staring at him. He had seen his photos a million times before in the media these past few months, and he was more familiar with the case than the old man himself. He had discussed it with his family at home and with other lawyers at court. He had read the details in newspapers and watched it on all the TV channels. The Muslim lawyer knew that he had just been dealt a high-profile case. He then asked for his fee. Ifat was now the translator between her Saudi husband and the Muslim lawyer. The old man spoke in Persian and his new lawyer in Urdu. Ifit translated everything as best she could except for the greeting, for which there was no need. First of all, Mr. Sheikh Ahmed, you must know that your case is very difficult to defend. There is a very strong case against you. The police have amassed more than enough proof to convict. Upon conviction, you are probably looking at the hangman's noose or life imprisonment. I haven't called you here to tell me that. I want to know whether you will be able to release me from this cursed Hindu prison or not. You are a Muslim and you must know that according to the Quran and the Sunnah of our gracious Prophet Muhammad, may prayers and peace of Allah be upon him, that I have done nothing wrong. I married an 11-year-old girl, which is lawful in our blessed Sharia law. For your information, in Surat al-Talaq verse 4, the Quran allows every Muslim man to marry a girl before she reaches puberty. Even our gracious Prophet Muhammad had married our blessed mother, Aisha bint Abu Bakr, when she was 6 years old and slept with her when she was 9 years old. So, what kind of harem have I done when I married and slept with an 11-year-old girl? Did she die when I fucked her up? Had I kidnapped her from her parents and married her? Did I not make the correct nikah contract with her? Did I not pay her father her dowry? Whatever you have done is absolutely lawful in our Sharia and backed up with verses from our Holy Quran and authentic hadiths from the Sunnah. But remember that, this is not Saudi Arabia or Iran. This is a Hindu and secular country. It is the land of Kofar infidels. According to the law of this country, what you have done with this Hyderabadi Muslim girl, Amina Hyder Ali, has made you a kidnapper, a rapist, and a slave trader. There is no lawyer who can defend you if the case goes to court without making holes in it. We need to make holes and weaken the state's case before the court makes its final decision on it. How can you make holes and weaken the case? Money can weaken the case. You need to pay a lot of money to many people. We need to bribe the judge, the police, and other people. I will not charge you as much as those Hindu police and judge might ask for. We need to pay the Mumbai police and Hyderabad police. We need to fill the mouth of the judge with so much money. We might even need to pay money to the mother, sisters, and brothers of the girl in question. And if it is possible, we might get hold of Amina herself and buy her to our side. We can make her say that her father told her to lie to you and tell you that her age is 17 years. How much money do I need to pay? Crores of rupees. I cannot give you the exact figures now. I must first talk to the judge and the police and contact other officials who are handling your case. If I agree to pay that much money, what is my guarantee that I will win the case and be released from this filthy Hindu prison? I will get the judge to sign a secret contract the same as anyone else who is involved. I will pay 10% of what they ask for and the rest after I am released. All judges and policemen in Mumbai charge 50 before the trial and 50 after. Can you tell me approximately how much this is going to cost? Roughly 10 crores. 10 crores is a lot of money. That is what I said from the beginning. You need to pay a lot of money to come out of this Kofar's jail. Otherwise, you will lose your life or die inside this filthy jail. Consider your advanced age. Would you like to die in the Muslim holy lands among your Muslim wives and children, or starve and die like a criminal in the land of the Hindu idolaters? Okay, I am ready to pay the money, but try to reduce it to 7 or 8 crores. I will try my level best, but I can give you no guarantees. Hindus are very greedy people when it comes to money. Go and talk to the judge and other officials and bring to me the exact figures. Insha'Allah, after 2 weeks I will come to you with some good news. Barka Allah fikya akifai al-ilam, said the old man. If it could not translate this Islamic phrase because it was spoken in Arabic. It means God bless you, my brother in Islam. Before I accept the case officially, I need, as a token, the sum of 1 lakh rupees. Why should I give you money before you talk to those people? I need money to talk to them. I need to bribe their security guards and those close to them so that I can have access to them. The old man talked to his wife in Persian language before responding to the demand of the Muslim lawyer. He ordered her to go to the Abu Dhabi International Bank and pay 1 lakh rupees to his lawyer. He said further that if the manager refused to issue the amount to him, then to tell him to send someone from the bank to him. Go with my maidservant Ifat Khan to the bank and get the money. The Muslim lawyer remembered that he could not discern the relationship between the young Indian Muslim girl and the prisoner, but now, the cat was out of the bag. He was awed and respectful of the devotion and loyalty this maidservant had for her Arab master. That day Ifat was compelled to visit the old man 4 times in the jail. Firstly, the bank refused to issue the 1 lakh rupees without the signature of the old man. Secondly, the signature was rejected twice because the old man's hand was trembling and that altered his signature. The beating that he had received during the harsh interrogation caused him to tremble for no reason. Finally, the bank sent one of its employees and confirmed that the old man wanted the Muslim lawyer to get the 1 lakh. After receiving the money, the lawyer took Ifat back to the prison and made the old man sign the required forms giving him the right to be his legal representative and to start the process. The old man did not only give the Muslim man the right to represent him in court, but appointed him as the legal guard and guardian to his maidservant. He told Ifat not to go anywhere without the company of that good Muslim man. If he did not know that his wife was young and very beautiful, he would have asked the lawyer to stay with her inside her room in the hotel and watch her movements. The good Muslim lawyer gave his business card to Ifat and accompanied her to her hotel. She had nothing to do after her new guard escorted her to the hotel. The new guard wasn't as watchful as the Afghani terrorist. As soon as he dropped Ifat, he took the remainder of the day off and went to celebrate his windfall of 1 lakh rupees with his family. Ifat was supposed to visit the old man every day in the jail and do whatever he wanted her to do. That day she came back to her hotel at 4:15 p.m. She did not know what to do. She had a small TV in her room, not being connected to cable. It received only local news, it had only 1 channel. She wished she had a DVD player and an Indian movie to watch. She considered venturing out of the hotel, but decided that it would be prudent to stay inside in case the Muslim lawyer saw her and reported her to the old man, resulting in a beating or worse. After a while, boredom took hold and again she was tempted to go out. An idea came to her and she went down to the front desk and told them that she was looking for someone to help her to get a DVD player and a new Indian movie. The girl in the front desk suggested that instead of spending so much money on buying a DVD player for just 1 movie, she should go to the movie theater and watch it there. Ifat had never been to a movie theater in her life, she only knew of them from the movies she had watched in her Tehran prison house. She wanted to go to the movie theater, but she was gripped by the fear of being caught and punished. The front desk girl wrote down the name of the near movie theater and gave it to her. Ifat glanced at the paper but did not know what was written on it. The girl told her that it was the name of the movie theater that was playing the most popular new Indian movie. Ifat returned to her room, opened the window and began to look at the people who were walking on the street below the hotel. She scanned the street for the Muslim lawyer. She spent 1 hour standing by the window looking for the lawyer. She felt as if she was searching for a coin among the hundreds of people that walking in the street below her. Eventually she came up with a plan and decided to put it in action.